to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering this week and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Westwood, and I'm here today with magazine editor David Mark. David, former U.S. ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley, is going to soon announce a bid for president, evidently. She at one point had promised that she would not jump into the 2024 race if Donald Trump was running, which he is. Does it bode poorly for her that she's going to start her campaign out on a note of such a major flip-flop?
Well, it is. Her name has not even been out there really in the public eye for more than 2 years now, since she left as UN ambassador in the Trump administration. And she has said subsequently she would not run against her old boss. Now she is indeed kind of flip-flopping about it. And not surprisingly, Trump from the sidelines is starting to snipe at her and take some shots. Probably the beginning of what a lot more that we could expect to see coming. So I think she's got some real challenges. One in just emerging as the anti-Trump seems like a long shot, particularly if somebody like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis jumps into the race or somebody else. But we will see. There's a long way to go on this. She just has yet to make her case.
Where does she fit in the landscape of, the Republican field? I mean, ideologically, does she have a lane?
It's interesting. Nikki Haley really made her name as South Carolina governor in the Tea Party era. She won the South Carolina governorship in 2010 on a promise to cut spending, lower taxes, traditional conservative mantra, sort of different than Trumpism. And she's also known as somebody who's aspirational, forward-looking, kind of a happy warrior. That is not Trumpism. Agree with it or not, that's just not the motif that Donald Trump has taken to politics. So it's not clear whether her time has really passed in politics. One other thing to note about her, she actually is one of the few former Trump administration officials who left on pretty good terms. Most of these other cabinet officials, other people who worked in high-level positions for Trump, he said nasty things about them when he was on Twitter. He's taken shots at them. At least until recently, she was in his good graces, so we'll see how long that lasts.
Former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan is also publicly signaling that he could jump into the race. Does he have a shot, I guess, to put it candidly, of becoming the Republican presidential nominee?
You can tell that I think he's getting more serious about this. He said on a syndicated radio show, Hugh Hewitt show, that if Donald Trump were the nominee, then Larry Hogan would support him. He didn't quite frame it that way, but he said, I'll support the Republican nominee. That's a little different from what he said in the past. So I think he realizes that's just kind of the barrier to entry. You have to say that to at least be a serious candidate. I have some real questions about him, just where he fits in the broader Republican landscape. If somehow he got the nomination for the Republicans, there's a lot of Democratic legislators in Maryland who would go on the record happily denouncing him, saying, his claims to be bipartisan and this nice guy, it's all a sham. You should see him behind closed doors, that sort of thing. That's a long way off. A lot of contingencies to get there, but I think he's got a rough road ahead.
Speaking of Donald Trump, he's ostensibly running for president. Have we seen him start to make moves, or is his campaign sort of dormant?
He is starting to come out there. He was in New Hampshire and South Carolina on the same day, both early primary states. South Carolina particularly interesting because Nikki Haley hails from there. Also in New Hampshire, the current governor, Chris Sununu, is pondering a run as well. So he's making his moves, but it's not like he's there every day. It will be interesting as some of these other candidates emerge to see how much time he really spends. Those are also relatively quick day trips from Mar-a-Lago, so it kind of works out for him. We'll see if when it comes to Nevada and some of these longer flights, if he really wants to do that.
Well, David, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You can get more reporting from David and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.